Welcome, everybody, to another lovely day. Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. We have physical dangers here where I live. The waters are dangerous. The winds are a little tricky. I don't know if you can see, but there it is, next to the hammock where sometimes I rest in the afternoon, a large enough branch fell down. But when the Bhagavad Gita, which we're focusing on this year, when that talks about danger, it's more about danger to the inner self, not the outer self. The outer self is going to encounter difficulty, it's going to change, it's going to age, it's going to fall away, but the inner self stays with you in a variety of traditions. For example, even the Christian tradition I was raised in, after death, you're still there. You go someplace else, right? Um, we're going to start with answering a couple questions that are going to lead into today's topic and relate to this idea of spiritual danger. So I got a couple of questions, and thank you for sending them in. One is, I referred yesterday to Major League Baseball's DEI program. And so somebody asked, what is Major League's DEI program? I don't know if you're asking for specifics. I'm guessing that you might want to know what DEI is, and if not, write back and let me know. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion program, which I think is tremendously significant because for those of you not familiar with the political climate in the United States right now, there's a lot of anti-immigration rhetoric going around. And I think that's ironic. Major League Baseball is supposed to be the sport of the United States of America, and so many immigrants play it and come to this country specifically to play. And we cheer them on one hand, but sometimes with the political environment, they're not supported on the other hand. Hopefully, DEI programs help people like them, people everywhere, have a fair shot of getting support for who they are and who they can be. Second question from yesterday: overcoming ego's subversion. Is it possible? I keep trying. Yeah, some steps forward, some steps back, right? And missteps can keep you humble indeed. Yes, it's possible. It's possible. All spiritual traditions teach this, and the ways that it's possible are simple but not easy. They're simple. The Gita gives so many of these ideas. We just have to keep plugging away, and it keeps us humble. It also builds the will because with each misstep, we have to get back on the path. And willpower is tremendous for growth in any way. Let's talk a little bit about, we're going to go back to the overarching topic of Samatvam in the Bhagavad Gita. We're progressing to chapter 7, and I'm going to read to you verses 7:4 and through 7:6 of the poetic translation. In the original Sanskrit meter and any of the Song of the Soul, the Song of Your Soul books has these. All right. So starting with verse 7:4. Indeed, earth, water, fire, air, space, sensory mind, intuition, and the sense of I am are the 8 parts that form my own nature. From this more crude nature, know that I have a distinct higher part, the very life force mighty one, by which this whole world is sustained. These dual natures are the womb from which let me try that again. These dual natures are the womb from which every living thing springs. I am the source of the cosmos and also its dissolution. So we've looked at a couple of these verses previously, but sometimes you come back to them and you're like, did we do those? I've never heard those before. Oh, they're so meaningful. So today, what Krishna is saying is there are 2 distinct parts of his embodied nature in this plane of existence. And one is what we would consider like the physical body, made of elements, made of the earth, made of water, right? We're so much water. We have space in us, we have air in us, we hope. We've got a mind, we've got a sense of ego, and those form the limited little s self. But what we also have to remember is there's a higher big S self, and that is the life force. That's the power that sustains everything. We have that in us. In verse 6, Krishna reminds us that these dual natures are the womb, and everything springs from them, the source of the cosmos. So the cosmos is the material world, and also it dissolves after a while, just like our bodies. Okay? And these two natures are responsible for that. So when we talk about danger, the material is going to change. It's inevitable. The real danger is when we try to assail. I mean, basically, it's unassailable, but when we assail our own soul, our deepest self, with doubts, with going against what we know to be right, that's the kind of wound that we carry throughout our lives. And in many traditions, it says from life to life. For example, again, coming back to the Christian idea, if you die and you've sinned and you don't feel you've confessed your sin enough, you go to eternal torture. That's pretty harsh. If you've done things, so it's not about doing good things for others, although it's a benefit. It's about doing good things for yourself, so that when you get to whatever transition in life, or when you look in the mirror, you go, I love myself. I want to give myself good things. I deserve good things. I deserve a paradise of a hereafter. Or I deserve a good next life, where I deserve a quiet, peaceful sleep after I go. Whatever you believe to be the best thing that could happen to you when the material body falls away. So that's something to consider. Later today, like just after this, about a half hour after, remember we're doing the Mahamrityunjay mantra, which is a mantra that specifically helps us remember this true self, that does not fall away when everything else changes. And so if you're looking for a way to subvert the ego, one of the simple yet not easy ways the Gita recommends is remember your true self. If you're living for this, to make it to keep it pretty, to keep it ageless, to keep it well fed, to keep it well sheltered, well, it's going to drop away. And then you've spent all that time on something impermanent. Can you work on the innermost self by being true to who you know you are, by being in the world in a way that lets you look in the mirror with love? Well, I'm switching up a little bit. We're going to do the balance pose, and before I've gotten the chair out of the way, which was destroying the moss on the patio, which I don't want to live with, killing another being if I can avoid it. So I'm switching the camera. Let's do our balance. And I can look at myself in the camera and go, good job, self. Switch. Excelente. Sparing little moss babies. Let's come back for our contemplation. And I do invite you to contemplate today what you can do to take care of your innermost being so that you can look at yourself in the camera. So many people don't like to hear their own voices on recording or see themselves on camera. Or what can you do to help that? Let's find out. time to come back. Welcome back. Today's practice is dedicated to all those who are without power, electric, or who feel they're without power in other areas of their lives. And to Debbie DiNi, you know who you are, girl. Thank you once again for joining. Remember, if you're watching live, there's still time to come for the Mahamrityunjay mantra, which is free, and that link is below. And so I'll see some of you very soon, and some of you, I'll see you later. Until then.